My sister-in-law stole my $8,000 wedding dress for a party and destroyed it when I stored my dream wedding dress away. I thought it would be safe forever, a keepsake for the future. The disappearing dress. I never imagined the most expensive, sentimental thing I owned would vanish without warning and reappear in a crumpled plastic bag, looking like it had been through a war. I'm 27, and just a little over a year ago, I married Adam, 29. My parents had gifted me my dream wedding gown, a fully custom lace dress, tailored exactly to my figure, with intricate detailing and something even more priceless sewn into the seams, delicate pieces from both my mother's and grandmother's own wedding gowns. It cost nearly $8,000, but to me, it was worth infinitely more. I dreamed of one day showing it to my daughter, maybe even passing it down. After the wedding, I carefully placed it in its garment bag, stored away in the guest room closet, a safe, undisturbed spot. Adam's younger sister Becca is 19, in her first year of college. There's a 10-year age gap between them, and Adam practically helped raise her. He'd even set up a college fund for her, about $50,000 he'd saved himself, to make sure she could focus on her studies. Becca's fun to be around, but she's also impulsive. The kind of baby of the family who's been forgiven for small disasters like fender benders or losing expensive gadgets. Last Halloween, Adam and I stayed home, handing out candy to trick-or-treaters. Becca, on the other hand, had big plans, a college costume party and a night of bar hopping. Unbeknownst to me, she decided to swing by our house earlier that day. She has a spare key for emergencies and sometimes drops in, but usually lets us know. This time, she didn't. While I was out grocery shopping and Adam was at work, she went searching through our closets for costume pieces. And that's when she found it, the garment bag in the guest room. According to her, she thought it was just some old white dress I didn't care about. She decided it would make the perfect angel costume for her night out. And just like that, without a call, without a text, she walked out with my $8,000 wedding gown. I had no idea. While I was passing out mini chocolate bars, my wedding dress was being dragged through bars and crowded parties, rubbing shoulders with drunken strangers. The next morning, I went into the guest room to put away laundry, and froze. The garment bag was hanging open. Empty. At first, I thought I'd moved it somewhere else and forgotten. But as the seconds passed, a pit formed in my stomach. I called Adam immediately. "Did you move my dress?" "No." "Why? What's going on?" That's when my mind went to the only other person with a key. I called Becca, no answer. Texted, no reply. I even called my mother-in-law, hoping she might know something. Nothing. Panic was crawling up my throat by the time I grabbed my keys and drove straight to Becca's dorm. She wasn't there. Her roommate said she was out. 2 hours later, my phone rang. Becca's cheerful voice on the other end made my blood boil. "Oh, yeah, I borrowed that white dress in the garment bag. Hope you don't mind." My hand shook as I spoke. "You mean my wedding dress?" There was a pause. Then, in the most casual tone, "Wait, that was your wedding dress?" "Oh. Sorry. Sorry." Like she'd knocked over a glass of water. I told her to bring it back immediately. I had no idea what I was about to see when she walked through our door. The bag. That evening, I heard a car pull up outside. I stood in the hallway, arms crossed, my heart hammering in my chest. When the door opened, Becca stepped inside, holding a crumpled plastic Target bag like she was returning a borrowed hoodie. My stomach dropped. She reached in and pulled out what used to be my wedding gown. The sight hit me like a physical blow. The dress was soaking wet, the delicate lace bunched and wrinkled. Dark red stains bled across the bodice and down the skirt, dripping into the train. It reeked of alcohol, sharp and sour, like the aftermath of a college bar floor. And the bottom? Torn in multiple places, strands of tulle hanging like shredded spiderwebs. It looked like a crime scene on white satin. My throat tightened, and before I could stop it, tears spilled over. "Becca, what did you do?" Her eyes went wide, and for a moment, I thought she might break down. It wasn't my fault. Some drunk girl at the bar bumped into me and spilled her drink. And then, I caught the hem on something. It just happened. I could barely process her words over the pounding in my head. You took my wedding dress to a bar. Without asking. She tried again, her tone wavering between apology and irritation. I thought it was just an old dress. How was I supposed to know? You left it in a guest closet like it was nothing special. Something in me snapped. Anyone with eyes could see that dress wasn't a $20 thrift store costume. My parents spent a fortune on it. I planned to keep it for the rest of my life. And you? I stopped myself before I said something I couldn't take back. From the couch, Adam's voice cut through the air, quiet but sharp. Becca, leave. Now. She froze, looking between us. You're seriously kicking me out? Over a dress? Adam stood. Not a dress. Her dress. And you destroyed it. Get out before I say something I regret. Becca's face crumpled, and she bolted for the door, muttering through tears about how we were overreacting. The moment the door shut, the house felt unnaturally still. I sank onto the couch, clutching the ruined fabric in my lap, and sobbed until my chest hurt. Adam sat beside me, his hand on my shoulder, his jaw tight. I'm not giving her another dime, he said finally. Not until she makes this right. That was the first time I heard him mention her college fund. It's just a dress. The next morning, my phone rang. The caller ID made my stomach clench, mother-in-law. I picked up, bracing myself. Hi, dear. I just heard about the incident, she began, her voice sugar-sweet. Becca's very upset. She's sorry. She didn't realize it was your wedding gown. It was just a silly mistake. Just a silly mistake. I gripped the phone tighter. It wasn't a mistake to take something from my house without asking. It wasn't a mistake to wear it out drinking. That was a choice. There was a pause before she tried again, her tone soft but pressing. I know you're hurt, but maybe we can be a little forgiving? It's not like you can wear it again. That sentence, it was like a spark in a powder keg. It's not about wearing it again. That dress had meaning. It was a gift from my parents. It had pieces of my mother's and grandmother's gowns sewn into it. You can't put a price on that. She sighed, as though I was being unreasonable. Becca's scared her brother's going to pull her college fund over this. Do you really want to ruin her future? I almost laughed, bitterly. She ruined my dress. Adam saved that money for her. If he feels freezing it is the only way she'll take this seriously, that's his call. Maybe that's the only thing that will make it sink in. Her voice hardened. You're okay with destroying a young girl's education over a dress? I closed my eyes, forcing my voice to stay even. I'm okay with someone facing consequences for their actions. She hasn't offered to pay for cleaning, repairs, nothing. Just sorry and excuses. That's not accountability. When the call ended, my hands were shaking. I walked into the kitchen, where Adam was leaning against the counter, listening. That was Mom, he asked. I nodded. She wants us to just forgive and forget. Adam's jaw tightened. No. She's not getting another semester from me until she makes this right. $50,000 doesn't belong to her just because she's my sister. Actions have consequences, even for family. And with that, the line in the sand was drawn. Face to face. 2 days later, we were sitting in Adam's parents' living room. His mom and dad on one couch, Becca curled up beside her mother, eyes red from crying. Adam and I sat across from them. The air was thick, the kind of silence where everyone's rehearsing their lines in their heads. Adam broke it first. Becca, explain to me how you thought taking any dress from our house without asking was okay. Becca sniffled, not meeting his eyes. I don't know. I just thought it was some party costume. I didn't think it was a big deal. I couldn't hold my tongue. Even if it was just a party dress, you don't go into someone's closet and take their things. That's basic respect. She mumbled, "I'm sorry, but it sounded like a child caught sneaking cookies, not someone who had just ruined something priceless." Adam leaned forward. "You were at our wedding, Becca. You've seen that dress. Don't tell me you didn't recognize it." His mom jumped in quickly, her tone almost pleading. "She knows she messed up, Adam. She's apologized. We need to move forward." I looked directly at her. Moving forward means making it right. Saying sorry doesn't magically restore my dress. Adam's dad finally spoke, his voice heavy. "What exactly do you want to happen now?" I took a breath. At minimum, the cost of the dress needs to be reimbursed or a replacement obtained. It's not easy, but that's what happens when you ruin something that can't be fixed. The number, $8,000, landed like a stone in the room. Becca started crying harder. "I don't have that money. You're crazy if you think I can pay that." Adam's voice was calm, but cold. "Then you'll need to figure something out. Get a job, take a loan, work for it. Actions have consequences." His mom's voice rose, defensive now. "We don't have that kind of money either. It was just a mistake. Can't we find another solution? Pay for cleaning, maybe a little extra for your trouble." I shook my head. A few $100s for cleaning won't replace what was lost. The dress might be beyond saving. This isn't about trouble, it's about respect and responsibility. Becca's tears turned into frustration. "I didn't do it on purpose. And now I'm gonna lose my college money? That's not fair." Adam's eyes flashed. "What's not fair is expecting your actions to have zero consequences. You're more worried about your college fund than about the fact you destroyed something that meant everything to my wife." The conversation kept circling, them begging for mercy, us holding the line. Finally, I suggested we take a few days to cool off and come back with actual solutions, payment plans, partial replacement, even work to offset the cost. Adam ended the meeting with a firm, "Until there's a real plan in place, the college fund stays frozen." The silence that followed was heavier than when we walked in. The story she told. For a few days after that meeting, there was silence. No calls. No texts. Almost too quiet. Then, Monday morning, Adam's phone buzzed with messages from family members asking, "What's going on with Becca? Why is she saying you're making her drop out of college?" We didn't understand, until we saw it. On Instagram, Becca had posted a photo of herself looking teary-eyed, with the caption, "When your own brother would rather see you drop out than forgive you for a mistake." Broken heart family can be cruel. No mention of the wedding dress. No mention of sneaking into our house. Just a vague, manipulative plea for sympathy. And it worked. Friends and distant relatives filled the comments with things like, "That's so harsh. If my sister did that to me, I'd cut her off. You don't deserve this." Adam's jaw tightened as he scrolled. He rarely engaged in social media drama, but this time, he broke his own rule. He typed, from his own account, "Interesting how you left out the part where you stole and ruined something irreplaceable. Actions have consequences, Becca." Minutes later, the comment was gone. She had deleted it, and blocked both of us. That's when the phone calls started. An aunt. A grandmother. Both asking why Adam was punishing his sister over nothing. So Adam told them everything. The dress. The stains. The torn fabric. The excuses. And just like that, the tide shifted. The aunt who had been scolding me in the family group chat went silent, then messaged Adam privately, "I had no idea. I'm so sorry. You're right to stand your ground." Even his grandmother called to say she understood completely. That afternoon, Becca's post vanished from Instagram entirely. Whether by her choice or because older family members told her to delete it, we didn't know. but the damage was done. She'd tried to turn it into a morality play, and now everyone knew the missing chapter. Adam looked at me that evening across the dinner table. If she wants to play this online, fine. But she'd better be ready for the truth to follow her there. And for the first time, I saw not just my husband, but an older brother who had reached the end of his patience. The offer. It was the day after the Instagram fiasco when Adam's mom finally called again. Her voice sounded drained, like she'd been crying. "We've talked it over," she began. "We can try to get together some money, maybe $4,000. But that's the best we can do. If we do that, will you stop all this and let her keep her college fund?" I exchanged a look with Adam before answering. "It's a start," I said slowly. "But that doesn't cover the full value of the dress. And Becca needs to contribute herself, either in money she earns or an official agreement to pay the rest over time. And we need a genuine apology. Not excuses. Not shifting the blame. Actual ownership of what she did." Adam leaned toward the phone. "If you can put that in writing, the payment plan, her part in it, all of it, and she signs it, I'll release the college fund for next semester. But only then." There was a pause, and I could almost hear her exhale in relief. We'll work something out," she said. "Give us a little time." Later that day, an email from Becca appeared in my inbox. I hesitated before opening it. It was different. Thoughtful. She admitted she'd been defensive. She admitted she was wrong to post online. She admitted she'd been more worried about the college fund than about my feelings, and that it was selfish. She wrote, "If someone destroyed something precious of mine, I'd be furious too. I'm ashamed of how I acted. I'll work as long as it takes to pay you back. I value our relationship more than some stupid party." For the first time since this started, it felt like she meant it. I replied, thanking her for the apology and saying I was willing to work toward a fair resolution. But I made it clear, this wasn't over until the agreement was signed and the first payment made. Adam nodded when I showed him my response. "That's fair. We'll see if she follows through." The lines of battle were still there, but now, there was the faintest possibility of a truce. No coming back. A few days later, the bridal cleaner called. I could tell from her tone before she even said the words, it wasn't good news. When I arrived, the gown was hanging in front of me under bright lights. The stains had faded, but not disappeared. In some spots, the delicate lace was permanently tinted a dull pinkish brown. The bodice looked warped, the fabric slightly shrunken where it had been soaked too long. And the hem, even with careful mending, hung unevenly, torn fibers visible up close. The cleaner shook her head. "We tried everything we could without destroying it further. It will never look like it did before." Her voice was kind, but final. I nodded, biting my lip hard to keep the tears down. When I got home, Adam was waiting. One look at my face, and his jaw set. "So, it's ruined," I said simply. "They even wrote me a letter stating it can't be restored. Just in case we need it for, you know." He didn't ask what "you know" meant. We both understood: insurance, legal action, or simply proof for anyone who dared to minimize what happened. We sat together for a while in silence, the letter between us on the coffee table. Seeing it in black and white made everything sharper. This wasn't just a matter of cleaning up a mess. This was permanent. Adam finally said, his voice low but steady. "Then we push for the full amount. No more compromises unless they're on paper." That evening, we emailed his mom, the cleaner's letter attached. We reiterated our conditions: $8,000 in total, half now, half on a set schedule, signed by all parties. Only then would Adam unfreeze the college fund. I half expected another round of emotional pleading, but instead she replied with a short message: "We'll have something drafted by the weekend." For the first time in weeks, I felt, not relief, but certainty. This was going to end one way or another. The agreement. By the weekend, Adam's parents invited us over. There was a folded document on the coffee table and a check underneath it. Becca sat quietly in the corner, not making eye contact. Adam's mom cleared her throat. Here's what we can do. 4,000 now, 4,000 over the next year. Becca will work to repay us for the part we're covering. It's all in writing. Adam picked up the papers. The agreement spelled it out clearly, the payment schedule, the signatures, even a clause that the college fund would only be unlocked once the first payment cleared. Becca's name was there, shaky but legible. I looked at her. She finally met my eyes. I'm sorry, she said softly. Not defensive. Not rushed. Just real. I know, I replied. And I appreciate you putting it in writing. That matters. Adam slid the check into his pocket. Once this clears, I'll release the funds for your next semester. But understand, this isn't about money. This is about trust. Don't make me regret it. She nodded, and for once, there was no argument. We left their house that evening with a signed agreement, a check for half the damages, and the kind of tired relief you feel after weathering a long, ugly storm. The dress would never be what it was. The stains and tears were permanent. But in a way, the letter from the cleaner, the signed agreement, and that first payment were proof of something else, that I hadn't let my boundaries be trampled just to keep the peace. As Adam drove us home, I looked out the window at the fading light. It's still a loss, I said quietly. Yeah, he agreed. But at least it's not for nothing. And for the first time since that awful night, I believed him.